Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on Wednesday denied making an agreement with China to remove a grounded warship that serves as a military outpost in South China Sea, and said if there ever were such a deal, it should be considered rescinded. The Philippines maintains a handful of troops aboard the World War II-era Sierra Madre at the Second Thomas Shoal, known by Manila as Iangan Shoal, which is located inside its 200-mile exclusive economic zone, EEZ. China on Monday accused the Philippines of reneging on a promise made explicitly to remove the ship, which was grounded in 1999 to bolster its territorial claims in one of the world's most contested areas. "I'm not aware of any such arrangement or agreement that the Philippines will remove from its own territory its ship," Marcos said in a video statement. "And let me go further, if there does exist such an agreement, I rescind that agreement now." Jonathan Malaya, National Security Council Assistant Director General, earlier challenged China to produce evidence of the promise. "For all intents and purposes, it is a figment of their imagination," he said. China's embassy in Manila said it had no comment. China and the Philippines have been embroiled for years in on-off confrontations at the shoal, the latest on Saturday. The Philippines accused China's Coast Guard of using water cannon to impede a resupply mission to the Sierra Madre. The Philippines was committed to maintain the rusty ship on the shoal, Malaya said, adding it was our symbol of sovereignty in a shoal located in our EEZ. An EEZ gives a country sovereign rights to fisheries and natural resources within 200 miles of its coast, but it does not denote sovereignty over that area. The Philippines won an international arbitration award against China in 2016 after a tribunal said Beijing's sweeping claim to sovereignty over most of the South China Sea had no legal basis, including at the Second Thomas Shoal. China has built militarized, man-made islands in the South China Sea, and its claim of historic sovereignty overlaps with the EEZs of the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Indonesia. Jay Batongbakel, a maritime expert at the University of the Philippines, said control of the Second Thomas Shoal was not only strategic for China, but it could be another ideal place to build a military base. The U.S. Coast Guard cutter Stratton, WMSL 752, and crew departed the Philippines Thursday following the first trilateral engagements between the U.S., Philippine, and Japan Coast Guards. Stratton's crew conducted professional exchanges and joint operations in port and at sea with the Japan Coast Guard vessel Akatsushima PLH-32 and the Philippine Coast Guard during Stratton's months-long Indo-Pacific deployment. Stratton, the Akatsushima and Philippine Coast Guard vessels Gabriela Silang and Melchora Aquino spent 3 days at sea off the coast of Bataan, Philippines, executing simulated search and rescue scenarios, maritime law enforcement boardings, passing exercises, and formation maneuvering drills. Additionally, they conducted communications and signaling drills, crew professional exchanges and joint boat and air operations following their Manila port visit. While in Manila, members from the three services conducted combined damage control training, executed cooperative mission planning and tabletop exercises ahead of at-sea combined operations. They conducted crew exchanges and toured partner vessels, participated in a women in law enforcement discussion panel, played in a basketball tournament, volunteered at a beach cleanup, visited a children's hospital, and gathered for social receptions. It was an honor for Stratton to come together with our Philippine and Japan Coast Guard allies to learn from each other, work together to address common challenges and enhance our interoperability for joint maritime operations, said U.S. Coast Guard Captain Brian Krautler, Stratton's commanding officer. The experiences gained from our multi-mission trilateral operations underway, our professional exchanges in port, and the relationships forged over the last week have been invaluable enablers for the U.S. Coast Guard and our allies to secure a continued free and open Indo-Pacific. The multi-day trilateral engagement was named Kagape, a Filipino word meaning standing side by side. The relationship between the United States Coast Guard and Philippine Coast Guard was built over many years of partnership between the two services. The relationship flourished through the Philippine Cadet Exchange Program at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy, U.S. Coast Guard Mobile Training Team deployments to the Philippines, Philippine Coast Guard officer enrollment in the U.S. Coast Guard's Maritime Law Enforcement Academy, engagements by U.S. Coast Guard Cutter Midget and U.S. Coast Guard Cutter Monroe in Manila in recent years, and Stratton's subsequent participation in the first trilateral USCG, PCG, and JCG training operation. The U.S. and Philippine Coast Guard's partnership has solidified the commitment of both services to upholding a rules-based order in the maritime domain. The engagement was another sapphire touchpoint between the U.S. and Japan Coast Guards. In 2022, Operation Sapphire was established through a memorandum of cooperation between the U.S. and Japan Coast Guards as a perpetual operation to strengthen relationships, increase bilateral engagements, and focus on maintaining a free and open Indo-Pacific.